The rustic chains of prison moons are shattered by the sun. I walk the road, horizons change, the tournament's begun. The purple piper plays his tune, the choir softly sing. Three lullabies in an ancient tongue, in the court of the Crimson The keeper of the city keys put shutters on the drains. I wait outside the pilgrim's door with insufficient schemes. The black queen chants the funeral march. The cracked brass bells will ring to summon back the fire witch to the court of the Crimson King. The garden plants an evergreen whilst trampling on a flower. I chase the wind of a prison ship to taste the sweet and sour. The passenger lifts his hand, the orchestra begins. I slowly turn the grinding wheel in the court of the Crimson King. On soft green mornings, widows cry, the wise men share a joke. I run to grasp divine signs to satisfy the hopes. The yellow chestnut does not play, but gently pulls the strings. Who smiles as the puppets dance in the court of the Crimson King.
Ah! Hello. Stay on the page.
So your tabs go everywhere you go.
Stop.
Fast, safe, yours.
Shut that. Hello. Hello, I'm here. And yes, here I am. Here is the crunch. And I've not really got a huge amount to talk about because it's all so quiet, isn't it? It's all very quiet. So I suppose I did have some observations. I can't really remember them. And what I did notice is it only really took one, like a bloke, to say something. Do you know what I mean? Just in the end, it just took a bloke to say something, didn't it? Red Bull made a couple of rants, and they've both gone into hiding, and they've both gone very, very quiet indeed. So there's that. Other than that, I've been busy. I've been really busy, so I haven't seen much about it. What I did see, that it kind of stopped halfway through the week, which I thought was interesting. So at the beginning of the week, there was a lot of this bitchy, and it's still, I'm sure that still is carrying on. A lot of this bitchiness, very sideways stuff, like feather in the nest. It's like they've gone back and they're kind of trying to rewrite it, but they're kind of doing like this, sticking lots and lots of feathers in, sticking lots and lots of angles in, but very, very surreptitiously. I suppose I can talk about the replacements, which I thought was an interesting thing. I mean, that's quite old news now, because that was like, what, a couple of weeks of that? But it was like literally as me and Vic left, they replaced us with these two trusted compadres, like completely trusted people, who were just like the new proteges under the wing, having their channels built for them by evils, channel factory of joy. And you just like, just all of a sudden, like, as if that was always the way, and we were just these crazy weird people who just turned up. It's just a bit mad like that. But yeah, I had a look at one of their channels and it's just full of guns. It's just full of guns. So there's that. That's all I had to say about it. And that's about it, really. That's the only observations I've been making, because, well, my cat had 4 kittens. That was quite cute. I'll put a video up about that at some point. But I'm going on holiday next week, so I've actually passed on those kittens and that cat to someone else for a bit. I'm having my cat back, but she'll probably take the kittens and rehome them. But they're very cute. I might have one of them back. It was the same size as a Joy-Con, so I called it Joy-Con. It's right cute. So I'll probably have that one back. So yeah, I've been doing that and loads of other stuff. So I've not really been paying them much attention, which is probably why they stopped as well. I think it's like a mix of lots of things. They've probably run out of steam, a bit of targeted starvation, and just souring the milk for them as well. It's just interesting just looking back on it, and how, I mean, I'm sure they're going to come back at me with something, because today I went to Hooligans this morning, and it's just like I always did used to go in there. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, fucking Evil was just spouting off some shite. I haven't missed much. No, I don't think I have. No, it's been quiet, hasn't it? It's been really quiet. I think it's the summer. Everyone's doing shit. Everyone's got stuff on. It was like a big weekend this weekend, wasn't it? There's loads of like festivals on, loads of stuff going on. So I doubt people have got that much time for this shite, really. People are on holiday. I'm going to be on holiday. I'll probably try and keep up the crunch, but there's not that much kicking off, is there, really? So there's that. Yeah. What was I on about? I think one thing I'd seen. No, that was it, really, wasn't it? Those guys just kind of shut up about it now. They aren't doing anything. No. Well, this is all they wanted. I mean, it's a weird one. I think looking at what did they achieve their goals by what they've done here. Oh, I was saying about hooligans this morning, so I'm like giving them a bit of grief this morning, just a bit, because it was like they were walking in. I walked in on it, and like Evil's going off about Friends or something. Oh, was that late? I can't even remember now. Evil was on about something. I was like, oh, takes one to know one. Oh yes, you're doing this after saying this or whatever, doing my little spiel or whatever. Oh, they just banned me straight up. But Hooligan did leave one of my messages up, I think. So it's like fair enough. It's not about that. It was about Amiko. Well, yes. But you see, the outrage was unbalanced in this case. And I don't think they're ever going to get that outraged about anything. I mean, Ricardo will, because he just uses anything he can, doesn't he? That's all this is for Ricardo. It's just using anything he can. For Evil's case, it was a bit more complicated, I think, and that's what made this so interesting. And I got to see it from both sides as well, which I'm kind of grateful for. So I got to see it from inside the Herries and also to see what that looked like from the outside before it completely disintegrated. And now it's just like Evil was like that when I've met him. That's like how his channel was. He had his very few people and very specific. And then one of those guys was Albert, and then when Albert fell out with him, and then Dean came and all that happened, and that just changed everything for ages. And also Miko, I suppose, did. But around that time, like at the beginning, it was just it's kind of how it is now. So he's gone back to how he was pretty much. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I know what. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I was. It was ridiculous. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's the rewriting bit I'm interested in now. I'm interested in seeing how they're gonna do this, because they do need to. I feel like they need to be the better people all the time. They always need to be like super superior, even though they're like really self-depreciating and all that stuff. I think it's a bit of a cover, and really they don't care if they say they're shit, but they want to be proving and showing that they're better than everybody else at the same time as saying that they're shit. So I'll be interested to see what their next move is with this. I'm assuming that they're going to go quiet and into the privet for a bit and enjoy that time. Yeah. It's fucking summer. I have no idea. There's just so much to it. It gives me a headache just thinking about it, to be fair. It's like, fucking hell. It's just a load of old ninnies. Fucking midlife crisis, I would put it down to quite a bit of as well. Some of the shit, like you say, the teenage girl shit, like there was no shame, was there? No pride in any of it. It was just pure and simple. I think it really, the way I saw it is that they just had to throw as much as they could at it and try and bury me. And it was just like, if it would have just been me, then I would have been fucked, because they would have just carried on burying me. But in a couple of blokes stood by me, do you know what I mean, and spoke. And that's enough for them, because they're bullies and they're just fucking weak bastards. That's why they went after me in the first place. That's why Ricardo went after me. Possibly it's why, I doubt it's why Evil, because me and Evil have our issues or whatever. So that was that, but Ricardo definitely. Oh, what, really? Are you sure it was them though? Because it could have been any number of alts. It could have been anyone causing, like, stirring the pot. You know what I mean? It could have been anyone asking questions about. That's weird though, isn't it? Yeah. Minions. Was it alts or was it a real named account? That's interesting. Because that's the thing. It's like such an investment, isn't it? It's like I haven't even when I was watching this stuff, I didn't even watch this stuff, and I would have done. I was thinking today, I was like, oh, like I used to watch Darius and shit. I'm not watching any rants or anything these days. I'm sure, well, apart from Slotham, of course. Slotham's keeping it going. But like, other than that, it's just not much going on, is there? Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah. Oh well, that's an Albert trick, isn't it? That, but you see, Albert, at least he does it with a bit of like humour. These guys, like you say, it's just crying. It's just teenage girls shit. It's just there's no excuse or reasoning for it, as we saw last week when we were speaking to Ron about it. There's just no. There's just like at best there's gradients of joke, but it soon moves beyond that into something else, especially when Ricardo's involved. I know, exactly. Exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? That's human nature, I think, in a lot of ways. And I don't know if that's been courted in recent times by the way society is. You know, in the smoke and mirrors world that we live in. It's like that is the world we live in. It's like they put so much money into the advertising campaign for something and it's a piece of shit. And they could have just made something cool and not really bothered advertising it too much. Look at the volcano. Everybody wants a volcano. If you've got like a decent vape situation, you're going to want a volcano or get one. And they haven't got like the huge, haven't had to do a massive, huge advertising campaign, but you just know it's like a brand name. Everyone wants one or has one because it's good. And it's like word of mouth at first. When I first heard about them, I still haven't got one. But like, it's one example, you know what I mean? It's a good, well engineered product that's going to last you for your lifetime. They put the money where the mouth is, and everyone wants one. Decent price as well. But then like, everything else, it's just plastic fantastic with a load of branding, and they've put all that energy, and I don't know how many generations of that into it are we, you know. So now these guys are causing their manufactured drama because they don't know any different. They just don't know how to. It's just like touching grass, but in like just having roots and realizing what's smoke and mirrors and what's, I don't know, like stuff that's actually going to have an impact on life. That's kind of my take on it. Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know because I never got to see much. This is the thing with it. It's not the same sort of communication style as I would have. So, like, they do put their feet in their mouths, but I think it's like a lost leader. Like, they don't care that they do that because a lot of the time they delete their streams. So they've already done the damage that they want to do. They've already done their G'ing up of their troops who are going to go off and do that bit later on. So they've got like some like irons in the fire from it. They might have it up for a bit and they might get some action off it. But then they'll probably like delete it. Then they'll act as if they haven't ever done that. And all the damage that they've done is then just out there in the world. All that energy's been sort of sent out there. And they know very well what's happened, but you've heard it. You've heard it in Ricardo's pathetic voice, haven't you? You've heard it in when they just do their lives and they know they're being found out. And they're like got that smile in their voice, and you know it's once you've seen that, once you've heard that, I don't know. It just turns you off. But like a lot of people just watch it for the drama or whatever. So I don't know. Like, is it a lost leader? Is it a way of doing it? Maybe they just don't give a shit that they're putting their foot in the mouth. My point is that they're always, and I mean always, having to eat someone else. So I don't care about the clown show, but like at least have some acknowledgement for the fact that you're like, all your content or whatever is just literally made on eating someone else who hasn't asked for it, who was probably your friend and has been loyal to you. They were at Vic again tonight. Vic hasn't done fuck all to them and continues not to. He's just having a bit of fucking time off because it's the summer. He's like, well, fuck it, this is good timing as any. And like they're just still at it with him, and it's not even like Albert would be, like a bit of like pigtail pulling to try and get him back in the fight. It's not. It's just like, again, it's trying to shut people. It's that attitude of trying to shut people down, being invested in it, a level of desperation. It's not just for fun, and that is because it's not like I wasn't even going to bring any of that shit up when I first saw those guys talking at Slotham's. I was like, okay, we'll just talk about whatever. And then it just started, and I was just like, okay, you know, it wasn't high level or anything like that, and Evil didn't go in on me, but I did go in on him, so I will take that. And yeah, Evil didn't go in on me, so that was interesting. Put the foot in the mouth. Oh, they care. That's why they talk about it. Oh, I know. Well, that's what they do, though. How do they acting like they didn't do it? That's what they do. I've been very surprised by that. That has been the learning some of the learning from the season 2, I think, because of knowing these guys as well, knowing people, or thinking that I did, knowing them for a while, or some aspect of them for a while, and then seeing people who you know and who you've worked alongside doing things which you know are like decent level shit, and people you thought had like a decent level of viewpoint, which I think they still do. But then doing that consistently, it's not just like, oh, even that, even doing it once or twice or something is a bit fucking cheap and shit. And another thing is like, how is that not picked up on? How are we not taking the piss out of that like 24/7 because everyone else is getting shit? Yeah, it sounds like butting this because they can't grow their channels. They want to become YouTube personalities, but they haven't got anywhere. Maybe not. I'm not sure. I think Ricardo more likely. I don't know about Evil. I think Evil's quite happy with it like that. Evil's quite happy with his like few people. See, I would have liked to have thought in the past that it was because he liked people to be loyal, or you know, people who he trusted, but I don't think so, because he had people who were loyal and he had people who trusted him and who he trusted, and he couldn't stand just a bit of a conversation, a bit of an honest conversation, which comes from having a friendship that is like a bit deeper than just like kissing someone's arse. And he just couldn't hack it. And that was all it was with me and with Vic. And there's never been any other reason for that. So it's like, okay, so he wants his small little streams to go forward, but it's like he wants to have people who are going to kiss his arse and help bolster him and prop him up, but are not going to be any trouble to him, and he can maybe get a bit of use out of them. So they might have something going on with their channel that he might want or something. But I don't even think that's that important. I think that's useful, but I don't think it's that important. So I think that's kind of the criteria, and I can't blame him for that. But he was never upfront about that. That's all it was. He kind of made out it wasn't that, and it was a bit more deep than that. You see, if he was honest and it was just that, then it's like fair enough. Like, you just want some props, and eventually you're just going to either sack people off or whatever. It's your channel, it's your rules. You do what you want, and that's absolutely fine. I just think you don't need to sort of sell a different version of it. You know, again, a level of desperation, a level of investment. Why? For what purpose? To question friendship, the trust or friendship was never there. Yeah, very, very true. Very true. I mean, the thing is, though, yeah, it's I think that's a very good point. I think the thing here is the question friendship, because it's like the question is going to be different between people, isn't it? Depending on the person and what your take on that is. And then friendship is subjective as well, isn't it? Like your take on an individual case by case thing as well. It's going to be different friendship circles, different paths, different environments, like work or whatever. So there's different times when you have to question your friendship, I think. But maybe the question is not the word. Maybe it's when you put question with friendship that it means your friendship was never there. But maybe, what's the word? Explore your friendship with another friend. In it. And I mean, for me, it was finding out. And it was weird because how they did it, I didn't want to listen to it after a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, especially when people are like, oh, especially Tommy was going, oh, you don't listen to it, so how can you comment on it? And every morning when Evil was on, oi, Mr. Bedspastic, crunch lunchtime, enjoy your VB. I'm on the hot water, as always. What was I on about? I was on about something. I can't remember what it was. It just goes, oh, the props thing. Yeah, it was just like, you just didn't expect when they were saying like, they said, oh, you don't watch this, so you can't really comment on it. And I'm like, well, I did kind of pretty much every morning when he was on, because he'd be on every morning when Red Bull was on. And even sometimes when Red Bull wasn't on, because he put like that he was going to be on. And so then Ricardo would stream, and that was fucking hilarious. That went on for ages. And that has worked. They've stopped. Thank God. Hallelujah. Praise be, they have stopped. But I used to go in and I couldn't even listen to it. I would just check the chat, take my little screenshot if I wanted to, and that'd be me done for the day. That'd be my research just to keep on top of things. Occasionally I'd get to hear a little bit because they would always be talking about me. They would always be saying my name. So I'd be like, oh, go on, then I'll have to listen to this for a second. It would always be horrible. And I just got to the point where I didn't want to watch it anymore. But the sad thing about it is that if I wasn't the target of it, I would want to be watching that because like it was so interesting. They were showing themselves, like you're saying about the so fakeness and that and expecting props. I mean, there's so much going on. There really is in along that line of business, along the expecting props and needy validation line. It's such a deep subject. And if you're interested in psychology in any way, just like for me, it's just like I've got no background in psychology, really. But apart from what I've watched on the internet or my experiences in life and giving myself a bit of a education in the dojo here, and it's just fucking amazing. This is a cornucopia of this shit right now, and it is just absolutely exquisite, or it was. And again with the faceted jewel, if it wasn't actually targeting my son or whatever, and just so disappointing that that's like one of my former friends, that I would have been all over that shit, man, so bad. Like I was with Albert and Dean, because it was really amazing to analyze it. Some of the stuff I've managed to download for later, and I can analyze it in the future. But like some of it's gone forever because they just delete it so quickly. It's so they don't even stand behind what they've said a lot of the time. Again, it's so fake. It's all just so fake. And again, it makes it interesting because it's online. So you've got the avatar aspect, which is a given. The fact that it's accepted, an accepted level of fakeness. It's a show, and you've got characters, and there's that side of it as well. Oh no, exactly. Something productive. For me, it was like always about like with Dean and Albert when I was doing that season 1 stuff. It was cool because it was like at some level. It wasn't sometimes. Sometimes it was fucking ridiculous, but it was always fucking ridiculous. And looking back on it, it's like maybe it's rose tinted spectacles or something. But it is like at least I was creatively doing. I'm still creating stuff, but I'm just not releasing anything because those guys are just so hell-bent on shutting me down. And the thing with Dean was that I always knew that there was some sort of toing and froing going on, because I knew that he could shut my channel down at any time. He never did, because he could shut anyone's channel down at any time if he wanted to, and he never did. So it was like I knew that we were doing some sort of conversation. Whereas with these guys, they just got a vested interest in just shutting me down, shutting down. And I mean, I'm not saying the PSG didn't do this. Like, just like literally, if you spoke to someone, if you just said so hello to someone, like someone you've never met before, someone who just popped into the chat for like once, and they would be up their arse like you never know. I mean, yeah, like it was ridiculous. I mean, these guys, like Evelyn and Ricardo, were like doing that shit. They were doing that shit, and they were shutting people down left, right, and center, trying to just like disparaging people. Whereas like Albert and Dean would like call them out. They'd be like, oh, this person, and they'd make some fucking ridiculous lie about them up, and it would be ridiculous, and it'd be like full of vitriol and ridiculous. But then at least there'd be like an answer that the person could give to it. Whereas this one, it's just Ricardo going, oh, I've heard about this person's got this wrong with them, and oh, what about their child? It's all this, and it's like all just woven in over time. So it's just this endemic thing that just, oh, don't trust that person. They're just creepy. Take it from me, kids. It's just like, it's like that. And I don't know if I prefer the more shouty version. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. See, listen, right, the reason why... Well, he's not as bad as Ricardo. I will say that, right? I will say he's not as bad as Ricardo. And he's more creative than Ricardo. Well, in some ways. But the reason I even challenged Ricardo in the first place was because Dean was at me. And again, though, I have to say, it was always overt with those guys. It was always out in the open with Dean and Albert. It really was. Like, yes, we had the flying monkeys and all the rest of it. There was no Nelda shit going on with those guys. Nope. Nope. Not that I can remember. And I don't remember those guys really entertaining anybody who is that underhanded, really, compared to, like, subterranean, to use a Sam Vaknin phrase, which I really like. And that is what those guys are like on the Herbie side. It's like, there are subterranean in the Dean side as well, but it's more of a show cave. In Dean's side, it's got like big showy caves and it's all lit and it's got walkways because they walk over them so many times, repeating it over and over again. Because they might be creative, but they're not that dynamic and they do go over the same old shit a lot. But maybe that's just Buttocks' fault for being an old codger. All right, yeah, nice one. Thank you for chatting with me, Fatal Vision. Because as you can see, it's a bit quiet around here tonight. But thank you very much. I'll probably keep it short. Anyway, I'll probably do it for, if I can make it to an hour, I will do. But if it's just me, I don't think I've got another half an hour's ranting in me. Yeah, you do. You do and you don't. I think that's a simplistic way of looking at it with Dean and Albert. But yeah, maybe a bit more anyway. Because it's like, you look at all the crazies that are on there. They all like say about, all the people who hang around with those guys, and there are some nutters, don't get me wrong, and there are some crazy people, but like, we've seen them all. They're all out in the open. Where's the subterranean ones? I don't know of any from their side. Whereas Nelda and all that shit, that's like some psycho shit, and there's loads of alts of other people as well. It's quiet. Yeah, you got to stream your own dead streams. Well, I'll try and catch one of them sometime. I'm not on very often, but I will definitely try and catch one. Yeah, and I suppose when I am about, there's never anyone streaming anyway anymore. But I've changed my sleeping pattern a lot. Apart from Sundays, I've kept this one up. But because I've not been doing much or getting that involved in stuff, and because Red Bull does his streams at the times when he does them, the times when I do actually go on streams, they fit with my timescale way better. So yeah, I'm not really around when people are streaming that much. But I will try. I'll try and catch them. So who's these 9 lurkers then? Is that you lot? Is that you Herbies? Because no one else is talking. Hey up, Avop. He isn't. Are you joking? He's not. Where's your proof that he's on welfare, mate? Hello, anyway, Volp. How are you doing? Are you still on your holidays? And is he still... I think you're not entirely banned from his, are you? I don't think so. I don't think you are. Yeah, it's super quiet, but I just think it's quiet in general. I think, people... it's a warm... What are we on, Sunday night? I would imagine a lot of people are out on the Riviera. Because of Dole. Why? No, he's not. He's not, though. Because of, like, you're not taking the time scales into it. That's what people used to do with me. You don't take the time difference in. He's really not, Volp. Dole. Oh, man. Yeah, it's right, quiet. But there's 10 lurkers. Or there's 9 lurkers, not included. So, what are you saying? You think that's all them guys? There's not 10 of them, is there? Is that some of the busting simps? I was wondering if the replacements might have been busting simps, possibly. Oh, you're in England? Lovely. Whereabouts? Ballpark. Without doxing. It's nice weather at the moment, isn't it? Been enjoying it today. Been making a house out of twigs. It's fantastic. Joshing didn't believe me that I was going to make a house out of twigs. And I did. Well, I've not finished it yet. It's fantastic. I'm just at the window stage now, making a window. I'm going to make 2 windows, one on the end, because it's like a little, sort of a rectangle, but it's kind of round. It's very cool, out of twigs, which is why I use that foundations, because I think we're kind of laying foundations now. I think it's part of that group dynamic thing, you know, that norming, storming, performing. Was it? Norming, storming, reforming, performing, disbanding. Well, we've already been through a disband. And then it was norming, storming, done that one. Reforming. I'm thinking reforming at this point, possibly. Well, they definitely sound like feel like they're reforming. Whatever. Reassembling for another attack, probably. That's what I feel. I feel it. Feel it in my waters. Yeah. Reform period, possibly. But that after that comes the performing. So I'm hoping that that's a good performance. Oh, London, nice. That was shit weather last week as well, wasn't it? You don't want to be in London in the heat anyway. Oh, very nice. Did you do anything fun in London? I've not been to London for ages. I kept meaning to go down. There was something I wanted to take my kid to. I forgot what it was now. Oh, damn. What was that? Maybe it was Lego related. Possibly. Might be. No, I'm sure. Oh, it was the bloody proms. I wanted to take him to the proms. You know, they do like a kids one, don't they? I wanted to do it. But I think I've missed my chance with that. Has it even been and gone now? Probably. It's early summer, isn't it? I can't even remember. But yeah, I was going to take him to one of the kids' showings. But I just never did. And then we're on holiday next week, going to Wales. It'd be nice. Yeah. Going to see some castles, so I'll do some videos for that. Oh, nice. Lovely. Oh, nice. Yeah, make the most of it, innit? Seeing everyone. Oh, excellent. Oh, you're going to be knackered when you get home, though. I bet you're a bit over-socialised. Eh? With one of them holidays. I mean, my holiday will be a lot of friends and family there as well. But some aspects of the family are really chilled. So there'll be a lot of drinking beer in the garden, I think, which would be quite nice. And there's a garden that needs sorting out. Someone who's getting a bit on in years who needs their garden doing. So I'm going to do that, drink beer and have a smoke. And she won't mind me rolling a few for her as well. So it'll be nice. I don't know. Should I be telling you? Yeah, I'm going to South Wales this time. A lot of the time I do go to North Wales, but this time I was in. We used to go to Pwllheli quite a lot. Don't go anymore, but we used to. But now it's South Wales. It'll be around the area. Doing a bit of camping as well. I'll take my camping stuff. Some nice little camping sites around there. So it'll be nice. I'm going to do like some videos. I'm going to keep putting shorts up. My friend's got the kittens, so she'll be passing on videos that I'll be putting up. I'm going to do castles. I think it was Mike who was saying he was interested in some castle videos. So I'll do some castle videos. I've already got one up from, I've not put it up yet though. So I might just do them in like all together in one video or something. I don't know. Castles. Yeah, that's about it really. Loads of kids stuff in it. Kids stuff. Yeah, I heard this. I mean, I haven't come across that so much, to be honest. Really at all, actually. I mean, there must be bits that do, but the bits that we went to have always been fine. They've always been fine. And like, where was it? We went to the freaking, where did we go? A couple of years ago. Oh God, my friend got it. She got it for a family. She got it for her mum and dad for a weekend, and it was one of those sun holidays, and so they couldn't go at the last minute, and she was like last minute, literally. Do you want to go to Pontins in Prestatyn for the weekend? And I was like, yeah, all right then. And it was like literally that night, and I had to like just go and get there in time, and it was fantastic. Oh, you've experienced the hate. I also thought you'd experienced Pontins in Prestatyn. Oh, it's fantastic, mate. It's very high. It's like they've like mothballed like a proper. Oh, it's a. They were saying it was like a council estate by the sea, and it really is. It really had that vibe about it. But I loved it. I loved the ambience of that. It was right good. It was like the royal family, brilliant. Obviously, if you haven't got a kid with you, probably not worth it. But the area around Prestatyn is beautiful. Like such a nice like nature reserve and all that stuff. I really liked it. I'd like to go back. I'd probably go back to the Pontins. I hadn't experienced any hate, any English hate. Oh, maybe I did once. Oh, once. It's taking me back now. Yes, I did once. I can't remember where it was. I think that was in South Wales actually. But that was just someone who was being hateful, just in general. You know what I mean? They were just being hateful, and because I was English and because they were Welsh, they just threw it at me. It wasn't. I don't think any real English hate. I think they were just hating, and they just thought of anything. I could have been anything, and they would have hated it. You know what I mean? Any nationality, they would have just gone. It's just like saying, "Oh, you are this because you're stood in front of me. I hate you." You know. Oh, it was Unruly Kids, and it was like Shameless. It was right good. The pool hall, mate. Yeah, no, it's not a genteel holiday. I'll tell you that. But it really was close to the beach as well, so I could pop off for a smoke. Because my friend came as well, which meant that I could occasionally pop off for a smoke and that, which was cool. It was a right cool thing. It was just like this free chalet, but in fact, I did see it was online. It was a video about that Pontins, and it was like worst places, nightmare places to stay on holiday, and how terrible it was, and how disgusting the place was, and how it's never been cleaned and whatever. And it was a bit dusty, I'd say. It was a bit dusty, but it wasn't like right bad. You know what I mean? I think one of the doors was off the wardrobe, possibly, but it wasn't like hanging off. It just wasn't there in one of the rooms. I think I remember that, but it was a free holiday. What do you expect? I'm used to camping, so for me, it's like it's a bed, in it. Better than camping. I'm like Reggie. Yeah, so I've kind of gone over it all, Valp. I've gone over all the stuff for the week. There isn't really much else. I was talking a little bit about the replacements. I talked a little bit about how those guys shut up as soon as Red Bull said anything. As soon as, obviously, like we've been building the foundations for a while. They've been building their foundations recently, which, as long as they behave themselves, do you know what I mean? It's like fair dues, isn't it? But what I do think, it's just like you're not going to get away with it, You don't think that you're untouchable. You are going to get the piss ripped out of you for acting like little crying girls. That will happen. But other than that, that's fine, isn't it? Hopefully that's all done. But again, like I say, it had to be. A bloke had to say something in the end. And that's what it was. I think that's everything I've covered, really. I didn't really make that many notes this week. Like I said, I've not been watching it. That's about it, really. So what have you got left on your holiday to do, Volp? Have you got anything exciting planned? Oh, did you? Oh, nice. Shooting stars, yeah. Yeah, when I miss the stars. God, I miss the stars from Swansea. Though, when I was in Swansea, I don't think I saw a UFO once. But it's weird. But I've been in North Wales, I've seen a UFO before. And where I live, I've seen a few UFOs. but I've never. And there's loads more light pollution. Well, that's interesting, isn't it, in itself? But yeah, have you heard of the Welsh Triangle? I've forgotten whereabouts that is. I think that's around St David's. There's a thing called Stax Rock, I think it's called, and that is pretty much in the middle of it. And they say that there's an alien base underneath that, and it's privately owned. I think I'm trying to remember now from the book, but it's a privately owned thing. It's on an island, and I think supposedly unbeknownst to the owner, it's one of those. I have a lot of patience with Red Bull. He's a very volatile cunt. Is he? He's all right. I am, though. I'm a very volatile cunt as well. I am. I can be. So I've got understanding. And I've got understanding for it. That's why we're all here, innit? Because we all can understand at some level, whether it's just to cry about it or take the piss out of it or feed off it. Everyone's here for whatever reason because they see the value in another person's passion. Now, whether or not that value is a decent, something for the light or something for the dark or something for themselves or something for other people or mix or what they're going to use it for, who knows? But that's the attraction, isn't it? Is that we're all volatile cunts around here to some level or other. I feel like I've been way more patient with these two over here. These two crying fools. I think I've been way more patient with them. And what did I get for my I don't know, for my patience. I think I got some reward. I got the satisfaction of still being able to just carry on and not have any of it really hurt me. So there's that. And also, I got the satisfaction of meeting some really, really decent cunts as well. Decent ones. And got to flush out a load of old shite, you know what I mean? You don't believe in aliens on Earth? So, go on then. Avol, tell me, this is your chance to give your reasoning. Give your reasons. I'm not going to naysay you. I'm going to let you say your piece. And let me tell me why he's not a good dude. Tell me why he's not a good dude. So I've got no reason to think. And so I think that's quite an accusation to say that he ain't a good dude. You said this about evil, so that's why I'm going to I used to just naysay you, but I have no reason to believe you on this one, Evil, because I disagree. I do disagree. But I'm interested in your workings out on that one. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if they're bad. I don't know. I feel bad saying that they're bad cunts. In a way, I think Ricardo is. It's just how climbed in someone is and how are they ever going to bring themselves back out of it. Is there any more to it than just that sniveling, feasting? Like, I think it was Fatal Vision was saying wanting to build their channel and this bitterness. That's Ricardo. But I don't think that's evil. And I don't think he's a bad cunt. I don't. Oh, well, he can be, like in a sort of, bad boy sort of thing. I don't know. He's just a bit of a knobhead. He can be a knobhead and not be a bad cunt. But, yeah, the good people I've met have shone out and, it's just come out. And there was no effort required in that sense, apart from just standing your ground. You just got to stand there and take the shit and take the weather in, and you might meet someone decent, or you might have a bit of sunshine shining on you for 2 minutes, and that in itself is just beautiful. Just because the people here, because it's a faceted jewel, when you do meet a good cunt, they are a good one. You know what I mean? And they're volatile and they're interesting and they've got spirit and they've got, like, everybody here is like that. Everybody's got a really interesting story to tell, in my opinion, here. And that's why we're here. That's why I put up with these fucking crying bastards and all the rest of it. And the risk of going through the burners like I had to. But, this was always going to happen. And that's the thing. It's like, I was thinking I did an upload. I mean, I've done multiple uploads. I've done multiple recordings and stuff. and just never uploaded them because it was my hands were tied behind my back with these two idiots. They were that invested, they were that desperate, they were that fucking mining for shit and not having anything of their own. They thought they were that untouchable. They still do. That I haven't even been able to put anything up, but I've recorded loads of it. And one of the things I was thinking about was how when I first came out as a woman, this would have always been leveled at my direction, this level of shit. Either that or they'd have treated me like they treated fucking Cassandra. Do you know what I mean? It would have just been something like that. Either way, you're either one or the other, aren't you? And so this being part of the Herbies enabled me. I mean, I'd already established some sort of personality at some level, you know, not to my own home, but like a small amount by being part of the commentary stuff. But then, yeah, being part of the Herbies helped me to establish something about myself that wasn't just the fact that I was this woman. Red Bull could be my neighbour, typical bogan bloke. I've always read him as a parasite. What? Really? Oh, but he isn't though. Okay, so that doesn't make someone a bad cunt though, does it? Even if they were, but he isn't anyway. But that doesn't make someone bad though, does it? That makes someone possibly short-sighted, lazy, maybe not, unlucky, you know? It could be anything, but he isn't anyway. But the thing is, mate, is that no one's a good dude around here, are they? No one's I mean, there's varying degrees. If we were wanting good dudes, would we not be hanging around on the Christian Minecraft servers and shit like that instead of around here? You know what I mean? So there's that. It's like towing that line, and that's what's interesting to me. But then it's like when standards are dropped, like with these guys more recently, it's like, and then you're like, oh, that's so bad. And it's like, okay, well, how do you have these standards in this place when they're constantly moving and shifting as well? And where, for me personally, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't expect anyone else to have my standards. That's another beauty of this place. But like, for me, like just analysing that and looking at what's all right for me one minute and what's not the next, and what changed and who changed, and because people did change, didn't they? They massively changed. And then it was finding out the reasons behind it. And then once you found out the reasons behind it, it was like the purposes behind some of their specific actions, which then I was doing the interesting streams and all that stuff at that point. And then they just started getting really rattled. Fees off other people. Do they? I don't think so. Okay, I think that we do tend to sometimes. I don't think he does. Right, I disagree with that as well, and I'll say why. Because we will talk about other people because they're part of the whole thing, but he's massively holistic when it comes to our, like, you know, any sort of conversation, in my opinion. I find no directing force coming from Red Bull ever. No agenda ever, like beyond like mutual agendas, which we've established vocally and clearly, of like us both being on the same page when it comes to like standing up against these fucking idiots, but also wanting to have a bit of a laugh as well, and trying to cut it off so they can get as little nourishment off it as possible. That's not feeding off other people at all. And man, I can't disagree more. But I appreciate your viewpoint, because like look at what happened when those guys did what they did. Like, he did not feed off that situation. That was a situation that had Red Bull been anything like Ricardo, he would have taken that completely differently, changed it completely differently. You were feeding off it a bit, Volp. Do you know what I mean? That situation, because I'm not knocking you for it, but we all, you know, it fans the flames, doesn't it? As we can see, those guys were feasting off it. They had nothing else. But you've got that to compare it to, and you know for a fact then But I've never felt an agenda coming off that at all, beyond sticking it to a load of fuckers who are acting like fuckers. And that's it. And just making some streams, that's it. That's all I ever saw from it. And for me, it couldn't have come at a better time. And I don't know, maybe I'm looking into it too deeply, but you'd probably say I would. But for me, I saw the timing in that was so thoughtful and so well timed to generate good energy, and not personal growth energy or personal energy necessarily, but good energy for the whole fractal. And that's what I vibed off, and that's what I fully just namasteed up. I was just like, yeah, man, I massively appreciate that. Is the caretaker attitude. That is someone who is humbly in the background just taking care. And there aren't many people who do that, because they're all too busy fucking shouting off and wearing it on their sleeve and being these big fucking show-offs about it. I'm not one of those types of people. I don't show off, like, in life. I'm always the one, like, there's three of us, and, like, at my mum's, you know, there's all little jobs and stuff when I go and see my mother. She's getting on in years and stuff like that. And I'm just getting on with the low-key bullshit jobs, you know what I mean? All the dusting and all the little jobs like that. And, like, there's other parts of the family who are doing these big showy things, and you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, thank you for all the work you've done and all that stuff. But it's like they've done the big showy thing, but actually there's all the rest of the stuff that needs doing as well. But it just needs someone who doesn't give a shit about getting told that they've done a good job to get that job done, because otherwise it's not going to get done, because it's not going to have the same, you're not going to get the same validation for doing it. But I get my own validation, but then I'll moan here about it. But I'm just using it as an example. I see Red Bull as that, where it's like, you just, like me, you're just doing it. You're just doing it. You know, not for any other reason, in my opinion. Oh, thanks, Mr. Ben Spastic. Yeah, I appreciate all the people I've met on this. Since I've stepped outside, since I've stepped off that train, it's just opened up loads of different points of view. Like, me and Volp are always talking and stuff like that before, but I feel like we've been able to have a bit more of a conversation. I've got to know everyone a bit better. All the people who I kind of wanted to get to know a bit better as well. And no, I'm not going to say that everybody was pushed away by evil, but there was a lot of people who he would always moan about me talking to. Volt being one of them. Lewis and Red Bull being one of them. I don't think he ever moaned about you, Mr. Ben Spastic. So you're all right. You're allowed. But yeah, I think pretty much everyone I'm talking to these days were people who evil didn't want me talking to. So there's that as well. Men manipulate me. Well, if they want to manipulate me, they'll try. And if they get away with it for a bit, then they'll be seen to be doing it, like what happened here with those idiots. Want to be manipulated? Probably not. Although Evil did warn me that he was going to fuck it up. I've thought about this. Evil did warn me that he was a piece of shit and he was going to fuck it up, and that he was going to treat me horribly. This is at the beginning of the relationship. He warned me. And I said to him, no, you can never fuck it up, mate. You know, even if we're just friends afterwards, it'll be fine. We'll just be all right. It'll be fine. I was like, I can take it. And I could. And I did. And I put up with it for a really long time after it started. And I mean, a really long time if you actually take it back to when it actually started. But like in recent times, like I put up with a fucking shit ton. And I was still mates with him. And as Slotham pointed out to Ron last week, I do believe, given the history that we've had and how many times it's happened, Evil would have been all right if Ricardo hadn't have always put the pressure on and hadn't have always had to stamp his foot and try to terraform things. The last thing he wants is this fly in the ointment still in here, still giving that seed of doubt to his henchmen and to potential future people, and to the potential rewrite that he's going to be wanting to be doing, which is going to be very insidious, and it's going to just come in like the frog with the heat turned up in the pan, and it's just going to very slowly fill up, because no one gives a shit, but it's going to fill up all the gaps with Ricardo's story because he's just pumping so much shit out all the time. That's what I would imagine is going to happen. Is going to be the forward plan, because it's the least offensive, and he's not going to draw attention to himself, and he's just going to be sat in the background, just basically milking on the achievements of what he's terraformed up to now for a bit. That's what I'd guess he'd do. He might make a move as well, or have some sort of minion or flying monkey sort of thing going on as well. There might be something like that, because with Ricardo, you never know as well. I don't think he's as predictable as Dean. There's that. Because we were saying about the twos and fros and the pros and cons with Fatal Vision earlier. Yeah, Dean was more overt, but yeah, Ricardo will sit there and wait, and he will come up with something. But then he's not that dynamic, because he goes around in loops, and so everything that he does and everything that he comes up with, I think it's quite a... You've got your short loops and your long loops with Ricardo when it comes to the big things and his little schemes. I think if you observed him at this, when he's operating at this level, see, I observed him for quite a few months, but he never operated at this level before. So if he was operating at this level, you had him for like a year or something, you probably get to predict even that. You'd be like, oh, he's going to make a lie up this one. This one's going to be this one's going to be that. You probably would be able to do that, because I don't think he's actually that dynamic, but I do think he can hold very long sequences in his mind, and you see the smaller ones, and it's like a rings in a tree maybe with him, and you get the bigger ones, and they're the ones that like they've got the big lie and stuff attached, where you just like they're big whoppers where you just do not know, and you're just not for six that anybody in the community would even go there or do that, and then they just keep on going, and everyone's just shocked, you know, and then the next thing you know, that's just normal then. I think the opposite, those guys should watch out. Exactly, you just don't know, do you? Exactly, mate. Well, I try not to be manipulative. I don't know if I am being. If I am being, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be. There are times I think I would, but again, I never used to do that with my mates. Not with those guys, not intentionally anyway. And maybe somebody might point out where I might have been manipulative and not seen it, maybe, if they saw it. But I was never passive aggressive. All I ever did was kick off, and they would say that I was being manipulative there, because that's all they can say is like, oh, you're a woman and you're a nag, and you're like, you're the ones, you know, like I've said this million times, you're the ones doing this shit. You're the ones messaging me. You're the ones tagging me. You're the ones with the multiple streams, so that it just all falls apart. But that's the only response I ever got from them. So how can I even analyze myself? I can't even look at it, because I can only look at myself from inside at the time, which can give me so much information. But if I don't trust my own judgment for some reason, then I would look to see what they're saying, you know, what my enemies are saying. But when it's so fake, you don't get much from that. So I just got my own perception to go on, and in that case, I've always tried to be honest. I've always tried to be honest and congruent, and because I'm trying to show those guys up for not being like that. So the more I could be like that, the better. That did actually shoot myself in the foot with that, I think, a few times. But in the end, I do think over time it did protect my virtue by just having this like baseline. I'm not saying that I'm a massive virtuous person, but compared to those guys, and it's not hard, is it? Compared to those guys, and they've done me a favor there. They've made it really easy to be that person. So that has protected it. But like being really honest to a fault, you might see that as being manipulated or manipulative, but actually it's just me being, what's the word? Lazy. Almost a coward, almost, or just Occam's razor, just taking the easy route, which is just be honest. Just be honest. You know what I mean? Whenever you can, just be honest. like, because it saves you jobs in the long run. And if you've got the brain capacity to be able to be like, okay, is that going to serve me well in the future? Is that going to not serve me well in the future? If you've got the quick enough to be like, okay, is it worth being honest in this case? I mean, I think everyone's got that, haven't they? Is it worth being honest in this case? But then I think for me, with this, I think the anonymity, even though I'm not hugely anonymous, but like the anonymity does help. But it just gets to a point, I think, where your parameters just change. And for me, when I wasn't with the Herbies anymore and I hadn't got my problem with evil anymore, and I was being nurtured in a nurturing environment with friends who actually are decent people, like you guys, you know what I mean? And Vic and Red Bull and just, people who were like in a nurturing environment, like my parameters were able to go back to my normal parameters, which are like in my life with my friends. In fact, they got better than they were. That's what the dojo does. I actually realized that I could be more honest with my friends, even in my real life, and with myself through this. Because with this, I was just like, why the fuck do I have to be secretive about this? And people are like, oh, why are you saying that for? What are you doing that for? It's like, well, it really doesn't matter. And maybe I will come a cropper and stuff, but it's just like, I'd rather be honest. Like, again, like I said to Dean all that time ago, like, if we've got nothing to be embarrassed about, like, if you've not done anything that's really harmed anyone, you've not done anything that's really you'd be embarrassed about showing anyone at work or something like that, then it's fine. And like I told you before, I showed people at work. Some people I showed. You know what I mean? It's not like a big thing I would, but there's a couple of people I showed at work. Do you know what I mean? Because they were on a similar page, or they had their own shit going on that was like relevant in some way, or they were interested in narcissism or whatever, and it was just funny. I was like, oh, look at this fucking idiot, or something like that. So, you know what I mean? It's not like I had to. I mean, I'm not saying that Dean didn't show his people at work either, because I know he did. But it wasn't like I had to get backup from anyone from work, or they were serving any sort of purpose or bolstering my audience in any way. It was just a thing. But yeah, it's just one of them things. And so I think if you are honest, you might see that as a manipulation. Other people might see that as me being manipulated, because I'm giving more of myself to them than they're giving to me, aren't I? But I'm kind of like, that is kind of a lost leader. So it's like, it's like let the fools have their tartar sauce. You know what I mean? It's like, you can fucking find out about that or this or that or the other. There's certain things I don't want you to find out about, personal things, as everybody does. But like, maybe I'm not letting the fact that we have to be kind of anonymous and protect ourselves, which I'm a big one for that, and putting your boots on and making sure that you protect yourself. But like, given that, it doesn't mean that you have to be completely tight-lipped. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, a bit of discretion. You can be kind of honest. You can kind of have a bit of a chat with people, and I don't know. It's opened me up to being more accepting and more honest of myself. And that leads to better self-awareness. That's what I was thinking the other day. My self-awareness is growing. And that's probably because I'm just getting older as well. But it's like I could have gone down the route of a midlife crisis, but I don't feel like I did. I feel like, and maybe that's to come, you know what I mean? But like, I feel like this has taught me enough to keep me going in a way that makes me feel like I'm satisfied in my learning for my age, which therefore I'm hoping, without using the word hope, because I don't really do hope, but I'm surmising that will at least stave off some sort of midlife crisis if I've got one coming, or it will reduce the impact of it, because as much as your self-awareness increases, which I'd like to think it is, I think it is, then it's going to bring that back down. And also the flabby brain syndrome and the old lady head syndrome, that's something that I don't want. I don't want that. I don't want to go like those guys. That's what they've chosen. They've chosen the garden shed old lady syndrome, which you can all do. We can all do, but we've got the rest of our fucking lives to do that shit. Oh, I know it was last week's crunch. Yeah, I think everyone's on holiday this week. I don't know. Well, I don't know. It's their conversation that they've got something going on between them two. Well, what did anybody ever do to Ron? What did anybody ever do to any of those guys? We were all just having a bit of a to and fro. Like, even if you were saying about, like Red Bull and Ron having their, mudslinging and shit like that, it's like, that's all it was. It was just a laugh. And I mean, Ron and Tommy, look at that. Forever and ever and ever. Fucking Ron and Tommy were always arguing. Like, it was always the case. And then they're fine. Absolutely fine. So, I don't get the problem. Yeah, it's just that in itself. I'm hoping that that's just going back to them to having their to-in and throw-in. I don't know. Maybe Ron's got a bit of an agenda. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that Ron's decided to. He's got. When I say a bit of an agenda, that sounds much darker than it is. I mean, his own reasons, his own agendas. For his issues with Red Bull, which is like totally outside of my jurisdiction, and it's been going on from well before I came along on that score for them too. But yeah, I was proper chuffed that, I mean, someone can probably tell me otherwise if that's the case, but from what I've seen, Ron's stopped, and maybe that's part of the reason why those guys stopped in the last couple of days. It's only been the last couple of days that they've stopped, though, isn't it? I'm prepared for them to start up again when they get bored because they haven't got anything else. And this is what happened before. This has happened many times. Many, many, many times. The big lie happened as a result of this. Ricardo gets told to shut the fuck up, and then varying degrees of response happens at varying times. So you could wait. It might wait a bit. I mean, this response, this full-on attack, came as a result of something which happened months before. So we could be waiting a while. There's something will come back. Ricardo won't. He doesn't just go quiet. He sits there. You can hear his little greasy cogs ticking over. Yeah. I don't think there was jealousy. I don't think there's jealousy there with Ron. I don't know what it is. I think they've just got their long-term issues, haven't they? They've been going on with. But I was hoping Red Bull would turn up because I was hoping there'd be a bit of an after party at his. But I think I'm fancying a bit of a smoke, so I might finish it off now. But thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, Mr. Ben Spastic and Volp and Fatal Vision, and I appreciate you talking to me. Yeah, it's all really quiet, so we'll just see how it goes. Long may it stay quiet. I appreciate. Thank you, Ron, for sticking by what you said you were going to do. Ricardo Cody was mean to you. All right, Buttocks. Oh, come here. Why aren't you a mod? Hang on a minute. Oh, I'll have to open my phone to make you a mod, Buttocks. No funny business. Dorshin, is Dorshin there? That's not Dorshin. Oh God, I've just seen the evil streaming. There we go. The counter streams. Yeah, so I'm hoping that I downloaded enough of those that I can do some interesting Twig streams in the future. In the far future, I thought I'll do some interesting Twig streams, just laughing at some of their shit because it was so pathetic. I don't know if he is. I don't think so. I thought he was Dorshin for the longest time, but he's not. There you go. Oh, yes. When's your stream about Dorshin then? Is that today? When are you doing it? Are you back? Do you want to do Ghosts tomorrow? No problem if not. But if you do, we can. But I'm going on holiday on Wednesday. So we can either do it on Monday or in like 2 weeks. Tuesday night? Yeah? All right then. Tuesday night's fine. Tuesday morning, yeah, Tuesday night. All right, Ghosts. We're on. We'll do David Icke if you want. We can't do David Icke without fucking Donald Marshall, really. In my opinion. Yes, doll. Excellent. There we are then. Well, thank you for coming in right at the end, Buttocks. Yeah, I'm just gonna pack it in because it's quiet. It's quiet tonight, and I've kind of said everything I'm gonna say. I'm sure I had other rantings to be doing, but I don't really want to over-egg the pudding because those guys are keeping, for the last couple of days they've kept quiet. So, should we ever listen to what Evil's doing just in case? Should we just see if we can catch him? See if we can catch him slagging me off. Let's see. Are you slagging me off, Evil? Are you?
Don't make me fucking
No, he's not. But that looks cool. Whatever that is, he's actually playing. Whatever that is, he's actually playing. It looks fucking cool. The graphics on it look fucking awesome. To be honest, what the fuck is that?
Let's do this, please.
All right. Well, we'll see. He'll probably start slagging me off when he gets bored. That's what he does, isn't it? I'll get some rest. Yes, do you know what? I'm just gonna get stoned. I had a bit of a nap, and I know I'm not gonna get any editing done for that next couple of weeks. That's the one thing I'm really not. I'm relying on you, Buttocks. I'm relying on you and other people to do streams that I can come on your panels for the next couple of weeks. Yes, and so I'm gonna do a bit of editing. So if you're streaming or anyone's streaming, I might pop over and say hello. I am around for the next couple of hours, but I want to stand at the door and have a smoke. And I also want to finish doing my Red Dwarf songs. I want to do the King of the Potato People. Oh, you do your Dosha Nubian stream. All right, well, I'll come over for that. All right, I will then. All right then, anybody who's watching, I'll see you at Buttocks's. Thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you. It was a quiet one, but I appreciate you all. Big love. See you later.